Hey everybody, how is it going? Oh, thanks, Jersey. Appreciate that. So, hope everybody's doing well. Didn't make it yesterday, but made it today. So, hopefully this will be a good one for you guys. So, what it is that I wanted to show you is, and there is a link in the description where you can get the tabs for this. So this is we're going to go over. Night Moves, man, I just totally brain farted. Night Moves by Bob Seger. So this is like aside from it being like a cool song, it's a really good riff for working with just for strumming and chord changes and rhythm. It's really good for that. There's like lots of stuff in it that it's really helpful. So it's always more fun to work on a technique with a riff or a song or whatever versus an exercise, at least in my opinion. That's always more interesting to do it that way. Oh, cool, Paul. Cool. Yeah, I've had this. I bought this in like 1993, I think. 92, 93, somewhere in there. I dig it. I wish I could afford a Taylor. That's my dream guitar, is to own a Taylor someday, but probably won't live long enough for it. So yeah, so there are tabs for the song. There's a link in the description. So get those tabs so you can follow along. For the most part, it isn't really too terribly tough to play, but when we get into the actual rhythm and stuff, for like the main riff of the song, like for the verse, that's where we're going to be working with that. So yeah, so go ahead and get this through that, and we'll take a look at it. So give you a minute to like get those. So while we are waiting, who do I have here tonight? I got some of my regulars. Was there anybody new? Is anybody out there? It's your first time? Oh, I got Jersey, Paul. They're both OG. Try playing a PRS. I didn't know that they made acoustic guitars. That's what I'm talking about. I was wanting an acoustic. I played some PRSs. I've never owned one, but I've had students before that have had them. I had one student that had the Santana model. It was pretty cool guitar. All right, so hopefully everybody's had a chance to Rusty Cooley, yeah, he's a monster. So for this tab, it's all just on one page. It's not. I've just got the parts laid out, and then once you know how to play like the verse and how to play the chorus, then it's easy to put the whole song together. So yeah, so for this part of the song, the main, like the main riff, the verse part of it here, we've just got 3 chords. So we've got G major. Now you can play this. I have it in the tabs that it's actually with the 3rd fret on the B string and not the B string open. But I'm not sure that the song's old enough that it might be the open B string. It's hard to say without like pulling up and listening to it. I never really thought about it, and I wasn't even going to bring this up or anything, but I just happened to notice that that's how it is on the tab. So either way you want to do it is fine. It's just not that big of a deal. So we've got that G, and then we have an F over C. So that would be a slash chord, F/C. So we just take our regular F major chord that you probably already know, this just open position one, where I'm on the 3rd fret of the D string with my 3rd finger, and the 2nd fret of the G string with my 2nd finger, and then my 1st finger is barring the 1st fret of the B and the high E string. So that's F. What we're going to do is it's a slash chord. So like I said, it says F/C. And for those of you who don't know what that means, when you see a chord written that way, the first letter is telling you what chord, and the second letter is telling you, the one after the slash is telling you what your bass note is going to be. So in this case, when we play an F, there's a C in that triad. That's our 5, 1, 3, 5. So what we're going to do is we're just going to take our 3rd finger and we're going to move it down from being on the 3rd fret of the D string to the 3rd fret of the A string, and then bring your pinky to the 3rd fret of the D string to replace that finger. So now we've got an F, but we've got a C in the bass. So that's what a slash chord is. That's what that means. And then we've just got regular old C. So those are the 3 chords that make up the verse. So. All right, so that's the tricky part with, well, I shouldn't say tricky. This is the part that is that's going to give you a lot of benefit to be able to play this. So when I first started playing, after I'd been playing for, a while, where I could actually play, I could play chords, and I could like play songs, and I could make chord changes decently and stuff. I ran into this issue that I couldn't change chords fast enough, or at least that's what I thought was happening. I thought that I could not change the chords fast enough, because no matter what I did, if I was playing, when I would change chords, there would always be this little pause, this little moment of silence in between the chord changes. But when I listened to other people play, or like just listen to a record or the radio or whatever, I couldn't hear that, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And so immediately what I assumed is that I just couldn't change chords fast enough. Well, later on down the road, I learned this song, and I don't remember why. I was never like a Bob Seger fan per se, so it wasn't. I think I may have, maybe it was like I had a request from a student or something, because it was quite a while later. I can't remember for sure, but at any rate, the thing is that when I started playing this is when I figured out what is happening when chords are being changed in a song, that gives the illusion that there is no silence between the chord changes. So the only reason I kind of figured it out with this is because he actually puts a little bit of emphasis, a little bit of accent on the transition thing that I'm going to show you, where generally people don't do that. They don't put a lot of emphasis on it. All right, so, and then the strum on this it's got some mutes and stuff. It's like just kind of cool. It's just like a really good exercise. So we're going to start off. We got the G, and we're going to play. This is a quarter note, so we're playing this for the beat number 1. So it's like 1, and then on the downbeat of 2, we're just going to mute the strings. So I've got in the tab, you can see that the second there's like that G, that's the quarter note, and then the first eighth note of beat number 2, it's just all X'd out because it's that mute. Then on the and of 2, we're going to strum up and then down again for the downbeat of 3, and then for beat 4, and then on the and of 4 we strum again. So we're like strum, mute, up, down, mute, up, down. Like that. Now that's the basic kind of feel for this whole part of the song. It's just going to kind of keep doing that same strumming, and it's going to but it's just going to do these chord changes. Then we'll get to that part. So before we move along, does anybody have any questions thus far of what we're looking at here? And then remember, as always, this is just a general Q&A too. So if you have other guitar related questions that don't necessarily pertain to this, that's cool. Go ahead and ask those too. And hi, Oscar. And so just so y'all know too, more than likely this isn't going to go as long as it normally does. I have a condition with my spine, and when it acts up, it's pretty bad, and it's been that way for the last few days. It's probably the reason why I wasn't on here yesterday. I mean, I could barely even walk. So anyway, I didn't want to go a whole week again without anything. So I'm here. So we're going to try to get through this, and then we'll go from there. You can't get the F over C, like you're having troubles actually playing it. So what is the problem? What is it that's happening? If I had to take a guess, I would guess that if you play each string separately, you're getting like, or you're getting a muted string, probably the B or high E string, probably most likely the high E string. Because this is a chord that a lot of people struggle with at first. So I want to show you something that you can do. It'll make this chord a whole bunch easier to play, and this isn't just for this chord. This is going to help a whole lot of things. So when you're playing this chord, you've got your second, third, and fourth finger, and you've got them arced in the way that you normally do when you arc, to play a chord, right? But our first finger is going flat. So a lot of people, including myself, if these fingers are bent, this finger is going to be bent. I can't it's all or nothing. Some people, this isn't an issue, but my experience over, teaching for the last, over 30 years, I've seen a lot of people that struggle to do this. So a really simple way you can do it, or a simple way to fix the problem, is don't try to force your index finger to go flat. You want to make sure you have your thumb. I got to move the music to make sure you can see this. You want to make sure you have your thumb around the back. Don't try to do this with your thumb up around like this. You want to be around this way. See how I've got this bend in my wrist here? Having your hand bent this way, and I've talked about this before, about with your tendons and stuff, you just have more mobility. But the other thing you can do now is move your arm like this, move your elbow in closer, and see what happens to my hand. I'm coming around this way, and now instead of trying to bar on the pad of my finger and making that finger straight, what I'm doing is my finger is still bent, but now I'm kind of barring on the side of my finger a little bit. So for most of the time when you're playing, like I said, it's not just for this chord, for most things that you play and you're having problems, especially it's like you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't stretch, my fingers are stuck, they don't want to come apart. It's more than likely because you're trying to do this. Keep that wrist bent, and rolling the elbow closer this way gives you this, moving it this way gives you this. So if you're doing like a bar chord like that, you don't want your elbow in this way because now this finger won't go flat. So I roll it around. So this motion with your arm is like very important for playing and being able to, to grab chords and whatnot. My experience is that people usually they just immediately assume, oh, I can't do this because my hands are too small, my fingers are too short, my fingers don't do this, my fingers don't do that. That's just not the case the majority of the time. I mean, yeah, there are going to be exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, that's the issue, is just bad posture, bad form. Okay. All right, so we can move along then. All right, so like I said, that's so you're like 1, 2, and 3, 4, and I'm not putting the mute in there right now just for the count. So 1, 2, and 3. So and 4, 1, 2, and this is we're in the second measure. So in the second measure, it's a quarter note, an eighth note, and then a quarter note. So that second strum in the second measure is just like the first one. So it's like 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to switch to the. Oh, wait a minute! I forgot an important part there. Hold on a second. Okay, so the thing I was talking about with the what makes it so when you change chords there isn't the silence. So this right here, this is the first one, but where it does it in a minute is going to be a totally different thing. So let's just go over this one first. So we've got like the. I did the upstroke on that last one, so it's the G, the second G that you strum in the second measure. It starts on the and of 2. When you hit that, it's an upstroke, and you're letting that ring. When I let my fingers off, I've still got a little bit of sound going when I grab the next chord. So that makes it so you don't have that moment of silence in between. So we're going to do that, the upstroke, then we switch to the F over C, up, down, and then we're going to lift off all of our fingers with the exception of our first finger, because the next chord is C. So when we go to C, that's already part of the chord, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do just like that transition with the G, but we're going to do it by just doing this and just upstroking the G, B, and high E string, or thereabouts. So when you're doing this, if you accidentally only get the first and second string and you miss that G string, or you end up hitting the G, B, and the D string or whatever, it doesn't matter. This is happening really quick, and you just don't want to hit all the strings like that, because just hitting the first 2 or 3, those are all like chord voicings. So it makes it sound nice, or they're part of a chord voicing anyway. All right, so starting with that G again. Then to a C, and it's the same thing we did with the G. Back to the F over C. And then the open first 3 strings, or you have your first finger on there still. Either way, it doesn't matter. And then you switch back to the G. So when I do that one, a lot of times I will actually remove my first finger from the B string and just hit the high E, B, and the G strings open when I make the transition back to G. So that whole thing would be like. That. So what I would recommend, like I said, I taught this just to a gajillion students for this particular reason. You want to get the get that progression down, and then just play it in a loop. Just start off slow, just working with the loop, like playing it with a metronome, be really helpful to make sure that you're getting everything in the correct place in timing, and then just gradually speed up. So you're working your rhythm with your strumming hand. You're working with muting, and you're working with getting downstrokes and upstrokes in the right places. And when I say the right places, that's probably not the right way to say it. It's not really that, like, otherwise it would be wrong. This is just makes it more efficient. This makes it so it's just smoother. So it's just like a continuous pattern that you do over and over again that doesn't change. And then, like I said, it's just really helpful all overall. Now with your left hand, a lot of the benefits you're getting here is that F over C or just regular F, either one. People a lot of times really have a lot of issue with getting in and out of that chord quickly. It is the last chord that I ever teach a beginner guitar player. We go through everything else before we do F or B, being that it's a bar chord. Anyhow, F, a lot of people just really struggle with it. So it's going to help you, hopefully doing the thing I was telling you about, to be able to get the clarity on the chord will be good, will be helpful. But working with it and making the transitions is what, where everything really comes in good. So you're going to be you're forcing yourself to have to transition from F to G and F to C and then back to F. Now F to C is an easy transition. It's okay. Goddamn little hair in my mouth. It's like I forgot what I was saying. Don't remember, but at any rate, switching back and forth between F and C is like a really, really common transition. You'll see that in a million songs if you haven't already. It's really common change. So just making those chord changes, it's forcing you this entire big change right there where you don't have any fingers that are anchored. Switching from F to G or from C to G, or you have to move all of your fingers. And so you don't have one finger that you can keep anchored. So it does make it a little bit more difficult, but it's good. That's like good difficulty, good for you difficulty. All right. So yeah, so that's basically how you play the oh, wait a minute. There's actually more. My bad. Yeah. So you have that, and then that repeats. Let's see what the difference is here. Oh, this is the difference here. So what it is, there's a little bit more where it transitions into the chorus. Because that's what I was going to look at next was the chorus, but I forgot it kind of transitions into it. So it's still, doing that same. Except this time, so we start with the G. Okay, so at the end of that one, you've got your same, with C, this, one measure, 1, 2, 3. And then we have on the fourth measure there, which would actually, I guess, be your eighth measure. You have that 1, 2, and 3, and 4. That's like the like where it transitions into the chorus. Okay, so Jersey, tell me, what is the problem? Did you try doing the stuff I said? What is it that's not? Is it that you're not getting all of the strings, or some of them are muted, or what exactly is it that's going on there? And we're going to be moving on to the chorus here in just a minute. So if anybody has any questions about what we have gone over so far, or just guitar questions in general, lay them on me. You're not getting it, period. So let's try it. Let's build the chord this way. Take your first finger, and we're going to put it on the first fret. So we're going across the first two strings. Now take your second finger and put it on the second fret of the G string. See how I've got my elbow over here and my first finger, I'm kind of on the edge. I'm not up like this. I'm kind of on the edge. You put your middle finger there. Now, before we do the F over C, let's try this first. Try just taking your third finger and putting it onto the third fret of the D string. And now when you strum, just strum starting on the D string. You don't play the low E or the A. If that's any easier, you can do that in lieu of this. Or you could do a full-on F chord, bar chord like that, but that is, in my opinion, even more difficult than just to do the just regular one. Jersey, if you have not tried this before, I mean, if this chord is new to you, don't be discouraged because, like I said, nobody gets it at first. Everybody complains. All new students always complain. I hear jokes like, "Oh, I wonder why they call it the F and the B chord," because they're both difficult. People have trouble with them and stuff. So it's kind of funny. Oh, you guys are quiet tonight. Last week I couldn't get, everybody was, we had quite the chat going. All right, let's move along. And if you like what we're doing here, hit the thumbs up and leave a comment. All that stuff really helps with the channel and me, keeping my job and all that stuff. So if you like what I'm doing, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, like this video, leave a comment for me. You know the drill. You hear it from everybody. All right, so for the chorus, we're going to be introducing two more chords. What did I do that for? Okay, so on the chorus, we've got the C that we had from the verse. We've also got a D major and an E minor. So hopefully you know those chords. All right, so for the chorus, and the reason I'm just showing you the chorus, there isn't really a whole lot of stuff on here that's going to be. I don't feel like there's stuff in here that's as beneficial as it is in the verse, but this way you can play the whole song, because that's more or less, there's just the two parts. There's like that main riff, which is the verse, and then the chorus. All right, so for the chorus, we're coming into it from a C, because that last measure, of measure number 8 of the verse is the. Now we go to E minor, and it's 1, 2, 3, and on the end of 3 we switch to a D. So switch to a D. That's like and 4, and then on the end of 4, we just do an upstroke of the first 2 or 3 strings open, and that buys us that same thing like it did in the verse. It buys you a little bit of time and that sound, so you can get to the new, or to the next chord. Hi, Peter. Australia, awesome. Oh, you finally got the new strings on the Kramer? Oscar. Awesome. That's a cool guitar. I way back in the latter part of the 80s, probably 86, 87, 88, somewhere in that ballpark. There was this music store in my area that's gone now, but they were a Kramer dealer, and they had this Kramer. It was a custom shop one, and had the Floyd, and it just had the humbucker and the bridge and just the volume knob, and it was airbrushed, so it looked like beer. So it looked like you were looking at a mug of beer. You could see all the bubbles, and then it had like foam up at the top, and that was the paint job. Was called Warm Beer. Well, somebody dropped it and put a big gouge in the back of it, so they lowered the price down on that thing really cheap. It was like $1,500 originally, and they lowered it down to like $800. That thing played so good. I wanted to buy it, but couldn't afford it. Even back then, I was a poor guitar player. All right, so that chorus, like I said, you're coming into it. So we do that, and 4, and then we go on the downbeat of the next measure to a C, and it's the same thing. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then it just starts over again. So it'd be like. Now, with these two, the strumming, especially, and this is really, could be said for really kind of any acoustic guitar song, when you're playing it alone, you're not like, you don't have any accompaniment whatsoever. You can really spice up the strumming pattern to kind of cover all the bases that are being missed in the, because you don't have the drums, you don't have the bass or piano or keyboards, a second guitar, whatever the case may be. So with this, if you're just like, that's kind of boring when you're playing by yourself. So what I like to do is I'll like, just to kind of spice it up a little bit and carry the rhythm through. So that way somebody's listening, there's no problem whatsoever figuring out where that downbeat is, so they can, tap their foot, clap their hands, whatever the case may be. All right, so coming, playing like the verse, and then going into the chorus. So you're like. Like that, and make that transition. So it's a pretty cool song. I'm not really a huge Bob Seger fan, I mean, I don't dislike it. It was just something that I was just never like really all that into. And whenever I think of it, it makes me laugh. Have you guys seen that movie, Buy Hard, Sell Hard, The Goods? Comedy movie that I may have went straight to video because I don't remember it being in the theaters or anything. But there's a part where it's like about a used car lot, and they're having like some big sales. They got like the big inflatable stuff, and they were going to do a concert, and they announced that it was Eric Bice, Bo Bice's brother, was going to be playing, and then at the last minute he didn't show up, so the one guy got up and started doing Bob Seger karaoke like really bad, and it was just really funny. All right, so yeah, so that was the parts. So does anybody have any questions about that, or just anything else? We've got some time that I can do some more questions and stuff. I like that part of it when we're chatty. It's just weird. One day come on here and there's everybody's. I can't keep up with the commenting, and then it's like today, so I don't get it. All right. Well, if nobody has any questions or anything and stuff, then we can wrap this up. I wanted to show you guys that stuff, and like I said, I didn't want to miss another week, but I'm already hating it pretty bad. It's going to be just getting up out of this chair is going to be a chore. But anyway, I'd like to thank everybody that came out. I really, Don Henley. Yeah. I like the Eagles, and I like everything that everybody did, solo and stuff, but not everything of either band. They had things that I liked and some stuff I didn't, but I did like Don Henley. Oh my gosh. I think it was Don Henley, pretty sure. It was one of the Eagles, but I'm pretty sure it was Don Henley that did that. Can't think of the name of the song. You Belong to the City. It was like Miami Vice soundtrack. That was like one of the first songs I had to learn how to play. Oh yeah, I didn't know that he had any new stuff. I don't follow him. I don't really follow anybody anymore. It's like really, the music industry is so weird now with everything's in, streaming, and I don't even like listen to the radio anymore and stuff. I have a playlist on Spotify, and that's what I listen to. And then I'll listen to, I hear new things when people like share them with me or whatever. But a lot of times I don't know, hear anything new. All right, I'll check it out. All right. So does anybody else have any questions or anything? And yeah, like I was saying, I appreciate y'all that, that come. There's, a handful of you guys that are here just about every time I do this, and I really appreciate it. Yeah, I like the Eagles. But not everything. I mean, they have stuff that it isn't my cup of tea, but they have a lot of stuff that's really, a lot of their stuff's really, really good, and some of it's timeless. But yeah, if you like, what I'm doing, everybody has said this. I've already said it once, but click the thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, all that kind of stuff, because that's all the kind of stuff that makes it so I can keep coming back and doing this for you guys, weekly. So yeah. All right. Well, again, I really appreciate everybody coming out, and I will. Hopefully, I'm trying to get back on just a set schedule of every Tuesday and Wednesday, but it just seems like there's always something that screws that up. And yesterday it was just because, like I said, I could barely walk, but I didn't want to go a week again. I mean, before last week, I think I missed 2 weeks. So I didn't want that to happen. But again, thanks everybody for coming out. I really appreciate it. Also, if you have ideas or suggestions, things that you'd like to see covered in in the live streams, or not necessarily just in the live, just in the YouTube videos, because as you probably know that I do YouTube videos for this channel as well. They just published one like right before I came on, I seen that there was one published for a new one. So yeah, you know, all that stuff really helps. All right, Peter, I'll check it out. All right, again, everybody, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. And you know, like I said, leave a comment if you have ideas or suggestions and stuff like that, because I always look through all that. Oh, you're still working on She Talks to Angels? Yeah, I need to work on it too. I was playing at the beginning of the video and I'm going, oh man, I can't even edit this because it's live, but it wasn't real great. I wasn't playing it real good. But that one's easy. The one that came out today is I took the piano part for Don't Stop Believing, the piano and the bass line, and I combined them, but for guitar. So you got this. Whoops. That's the one that came out today, and that one's harder than She Talks to Angels, in my opinion. At least it was for me to get it. But yeah, pretty good. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all. When I say I'll see you your little icons as they come up here on the side. But again, thanks everybody for coming out. Really appreciate it, and I will see you all next week. Have a great weekend.